all products or services or ideas are created by human beings. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but hear me out. When a human being creates something, what do? They infuse their personality into it. Apple was nothing until Steve Jobs came along and infused his personality into it. And he was able to attract and to service an entire world of people with new gadgets and technology. Hello, my friend. I'm so excited to have you join me today. I want to talk about exactly how you write and speak in a way that will move your ideal buyer, your target audience, to take action, to do something, to engage with you, whether that's to buy something, to sign up, or whatever it is. And if you can master this, your level of persuasion will go up dramatically. For example, I recently ran a Facebook campaign where the average cost per click was running over $10. In some cases, $40 or $50. And by using the strategy that I'm going to explain to you today, we brought that all the way down. You probably won't believe this, but we brought that all the way down to 32 cents a click, with conversions running between $1 and $3. Now, what made the difference there? The difference was in how we communicated with it. It wasn't in the structure. It wasn't what we did with the Facebook ads. It wasn't what we did with the placements or the audience targeting. None of those things. Those things can all make a difference. But what we did is we changed the language, we changed the copy and the way that we talk to our audience. But we did it in a very strategic, very targeted way. Now, I can give you other examples where we've taken campaigns that have been running at $20 or $30 per conversion and brought those all the way down to $2 or $3 or $4 or $5 per conversion. All by simply changing up the way that we target. See, the cool thing about social media and about ads and marketing today is that we have these amazing AI systems that know people inside and out. They know everything about them, including how they think and how they feel, the words that they use, the images that they resonate, etc. And if you can dial in your system in your language to target and to attract your audience, the AI systems, the bots and the programs, the marketing engines, the advertising engines, they will target the right people for you. And when they do, you're going to get amazing results and dramatically lower down your system. So if you're a copywriter, an advertiser, an influencer, you're speaking, whatever you're doing, you've got the job of persuading people to listen to you and then to want to be around you and then to take action, to follow your lead and do things that you're suggesting them to do. And the core foundation, the core mechanism for doing that are the words you speak and how you speak them, and then the images and the ideas that you use. So I'm going to walk you through a system that we're going to talk about persuasive writing secrets. What I'm going to call this, I call this my writing with style. Writing with style. This is a secret that I've used. I don't know that anybody else teaches this, but it's been enormously effective for me, and I want to walk you through it now today. Now, the basic premise here is that all products are created, all products, services, campaigns, etc. All products or services or ideas are created by human beings. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but hear me out. When a human being creates something, what do? They infuse their personality into it. Apple was nothing until Steve Jobs came along and infused his personality into it. And he was able to attract and to service an entire world of people with new gadgets and technology. We could say the same thing with Tesla. What makes Tesla amazing? Other people have made electric cars, but what made Tesla amazing is Elon Musk. He infused his personality into it, and then that gave him the attraction power, the persuasive power to pull people into the Tesla world. And we could go through every successful product or service, even if they don't have a branded guru, has a personality, has somebody behind there that's helping them to create the messaging and the ideas, the feel, the energy, the connection with their target audience that transforms and changes their life. Sam Walton did this with Walmart and Sam's Club, and those brands there because he had this idea about offering high quality stuff or relatively quality stuff at a discounted low price that made it available to everybody. He literally transformed the quality of life and the lifestyle of billions of people around the world because he infused his personality and his core ideas in there. Now, why I say this is because when you have a product, a service, a message, whatever it is that you're selling, and you've got that, you realize that you are the core personality and your target audience has a personality that you want to resonate with. When you have harmony between those two, you and your audience, when there's harmony there, then you start to have synergy, and it creates an enormous amount of power. I'll tell you one other thing that this can do for you is you can take, so there's a lot of talk in our industry about how to get a rapid return on ad spend. So if you put $1 into ad spend, how long does it take you to get that dollar back out and then get a return on your investment, turn that dollar into another dollar or $2 or $10 or $20? What's the speed there? Well, I know a lot of industries that I've worked with have a return on ad spend time frame of somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 18 months. In other words, they might spend $1,000 to acquire a customer, or $500 or $100 to acquire that customer through their ad spend, and that they might not gain that money back through full profit systems for 6, 12, 18 months. But what if you harmonize? What if you use this system so that you're immediately reaching out and more persuasive and getting people to come in and getting them to take action faster instead of a delayed response, a rapid response, so that then you could have a return on ad spend within 30 days, 15 days. I've run a number of campaigns where within the first 10 minutes, the first transaction, we've got a full return on ad spend where we're spending about $42 to acquire a customer. And then before the transaction is done, that customer is worth $50 or $60 or $70 in the same transaction. Now, how is this possible? This is possible by targeting the style, the learning style and the persuasion style of the target audience and harmonizing it with your individual style or wherever the influencers or brand developer or company developer or business developers. So let me show you exactly how this works. This is a basic primer on this, but you'll get the idea really quick. Now, this idea is based on a 4 temperament or a 4 personality system. Now look, I know that there's all kinds of systems and discs and models and animals and 16 and 32 personality types and sets and all that. I mean, it's just amazing the way that we can fine tune and target particular individuals. But at the core fundamental of all those things, what we find is that human beings are really either one of 4 major personality types. And all the other stuff is subsets of that. If you really study it, you'll see that, actually, all of it boils down to, and for persuasive writing needs, you don't need to know 8 or 10 or 16 or 32 or 100 different personality types or subtypes or subsets. You really just need to understand 4 of them. And when you understand 4 of them, you can start dialing in your messaging and your verb set and your descriptors, the way you describe things and talk about things. You start dialing that in so that it resonates, attracts, and harmonizes with you and your buyer. Thus, you create synergy for them to take action and to move forward and want to do things. So what are those 4 personality types? Let's talk about them. So first of all, we're going to talk about the first one, which is choleric. Okay, I'm just going to represent that by a C, choleric. So the choleric personality type is the natural dominant leader. Think about this. These kinds of people, it doesn't really matter where they're going, as long as they're going and they're doing something and they're getting there. That's the most important thing. It's all about action. It's about momentum. It's about checking off that list. It's about putting the list together, checking them off, and having just like, I'm creating something, I'm doing something, I'm going forward, I'm in motion. That's the most important thing for that choleric personality. And you probably know some people like this. Think about someone who's a natural born leader. They're brass, they're tactless, they run over people, they're not overly sensitive about feelings, but they get a lot of stuff done. That's the choleric personality type. The second personality type up here in this corner is what we call the melancholy personality. This personality type is very analytical. These are the engineers of the world. These are the musicians, right? Musicians, because music is just math, right? That's all it is. It's just an exact science. These people are very detail-oriented. They are very organized. They are very timely. They are very specific. They are very data-driven. And these kinds of people, it's like they would rather spend hours analyzing stuff than getting it done. They're the project managers of the world. They're going to organize this until ad nauseum. But here's the thing, is that if we didn't have these people, bridges would never stand up, houses would fall down everywhere, nobody would ever be organized, it would be mass bedlam all over the place. So we gotta have these people, but they are very detail-oriented. The next personality type, what we're gonna call the sanguine personality type, or S. Now, the sanguine personality is the life of the party. These are the cheerleaders of the world. These are the people who make a lot of noise. They have a lot of fun. They get really excited about stuff. They're high energy. They're extroverts. They're off the chart. They're all these kinds of great things. These people tend to be very, very, very energetic and joyful and fun. They're also a little bit scatterbrained and they volunteer. They're the first to volunteer for everyone, and they're the first to not show up for whatever they volunteered for. But here's the thing. If we didn't have these people, we wouldn't have a lot of joy. We wouldn't have a lot of fun. There wouldn't be a lot of entertainment in the world. And so this sanguine personality is the person who is the life of the party. These are the people inside of corporate America that bring enthusiasm and encouragement and the right mindset to the game and optimism to the boardrooms and to the tables of the businesses. They're vital to us. The last personality type is what we call a phlegmatic. And it's spelled with a PH. Phlegmatic. The phlegmatic personality, these are the people that they're just down to earth. They are. And they're calm, and nothing ruffles them up. And they connect well. Their ability to have empathy for other people is, wow, off the charts. And they just feel, and they've got great emotion, and they connect people. These are the unifiers of the world. They help all these other people work together, right? They help the cholerics and the melancholies and the sanguines recognize their strengths, and they pull them all together and they unify them. But they're slow moving. They don't make decisions really fast. They even talk slow. But that's a beautiful thing because they balance and temper the rest of us. I'm not one of those, by the way. So they balance and temper the rest of us, and they bring love and encouragement and connection into our world. That's very, very important. Now, when you look at these, you'll notice that there's a couple different things going on here. I've driven an arrow across the top because these two people, the cholerics and the melancholy, they are very task-oriented, okay? They're very task-oriented. They are very duty-bound. They want to see checklists. They want to get that stuff done. If they make an appointment, they're not going to miss it. The task is the first and foremost thing in their life, and they need to respond to fulfilling their duty and doing their tasks. The sanguine and the phlegmatic people are very people-oriented. Okay? They're very people-oriented. If a sanguine's in the middle of a conversation with somebody who needs to have some encouragement and be lifted up and pumped up, or a phlegmatic's deep in a conversation listening to somebody and counseling with them about how to solve their marriage problems or their life problems or their depression or whatever it is, and they've got another appointment, they're going to ignore it. The person in front of them is going to be the most important thing, not the task at hand. And so they're going to focus two different areas. Now, these two different worldviews define all of the vocabulary, the thinkings, the feelings, the way that they approach and see life. It's either everything in the world as a task to be done or a duty to perform or someone to love and to connect with. And these two worldviews are vital to our society. They're vital to our world. They're vital to our existence. But sometimes what happens is when we communicate people, we might be over-the-top sanguines. And when we communicate with people, we're talking with cholerics or phlegmatics or sanguines, and we don't understand that we can temper the way we talk to people and get into their space to have more influence on them. But if we don't temper that, if we just are over the top, we're only going to ever attract our kinds of people. And sometimes we won't even end up attracting them. So one of the keys to writing with style or persuading with style is understanding who it is you want to attract into your world. Who is your ideal buyer? And then strategically define the kinds of words you use. Do you use a worldview that's task-oriented or a people-oriented worldview? and change up your vocabulary. Your images, are they about getting things done or about connecting with people? Change that worldview, change who you're attracting. Your content that you're putting out, what's the tone and the flow of it? Is it have a worldview that's more choleric, more melancholy, data-driven? Is it more sanguine and life and exciting and happy? Is it more phlegmatic, connection and love, right? What is it? If you look at these four quadrants, and if you look at task versus people orientation, you'll be able to start tweaking and dialing in the way that you communicate with your ideal buyer. And when you do that, your ideal buyers will just come out of the woodwork and they'll want to be with you. They'll want to listen to you and they'll want to follow your lead and do things you're suggesting them do. Almost instantly, the rapport is amazing how fast it happens when you get into another person's head, into their world, into their space, and you communicate with them. Now, a couple cheat sheets to help you do this. So first of all is answering this question. My audience is your audience task-oriented or people-oriented? Right? And once you decide that, then it changes up how you do things. So what types of words do they use? What type of words do they use? So looking at the four personalities, you're going to see, okay, if my audience is predominantly choleric, if they're go-getters, they're hustlers, they're natural-born leaders, then the predominant types of words you should use should be action words. Action words. So you're going to use a lot of verbs. You're going to have a lot of call to action. You're going to talk about getting things done. You're going to talk about forward momentum, energy, conquering, overcoming, those kinds of things. You're going to use that whole vocabulary language set. Is your target audience more melancholy? If so, then what you're going to do is you're going to use the types of words that are more descriptors or data. So you're going to say, okay, you're going to give enormous detail. I once gave a presentation to a room full of melancholies. And when I got to, and I was giving this sanguine presentation and I was really I was telling all these stories and I got to the part where I was pitching the offer. And I pitched the offer and I glossed over a bunch of the details and the sales rate were off the charts terrible. It was horrible. I completely and totally bombed that presentation. Well, a few months later, I had an opportunity to do a presentation into a very similar group. I learned my lesson and I changed that where I did tell stories, I did connect, but everything was about the descriptions and the details. And when I got to the offer, it was very minute. You get this, and then you get this, and this is how much it would cost if you bought it by itself. And these are all the fine little, surprises that you get with it. These are your bonuses, and this is your offer. Step by step by step by step, I detailed out every single little thing. And guess what happened? I had a record-breaking. We closed over 85% of the room of a couple hundred people on a $6,000 price. It was unbelievable, right? So it was off the charts in terms of the success. And what did I do? I didn't change up the core message. I didn't change up the offer. I changed up the words that I used because I was talking to melancholies. I focused on data and description. Now, if you're going to talk to the sanguine crowd, then you want to talk about the emotion of the thing. How much fun are they going to have? How much energy is there going to be? How much, excitement is there? How we're going to move forward? We're going to conquer the world. Everything's possible. And you're going to talk in big, bright, happy tones and terms. That's because that's the way the sanguine thinks. And then if you're working with the phlegmatic, then you're going to talk about empathy. Okay? You're going to have a lot of empathy, a lot of connection, a lot of feeling, a lot of love, a lot of emotion, just different kind of emotion than right here, this optimistic emotion. This is just a well-rounded, grounded, solid thing. Now, as you look at writing persuasively, there's a number of ways that you can do this in terms of how you can structure your paragraphs and your content and your sentences and your vocabulary and your punctuation. All of that helps to bring across the voice, the volume, the tone of what you're trying to say in your writing and in your videos. But if you'll just step back and say, okay, I've got 4 categories of people. Which one am I trying to attract most? And are they task oriented or people oriented? And what are the language, what's the vocabulary and the approach and the style that I'm using? And I promise you, if you will make that shift, if you will change up how you're dealing and interacting with them, then it will transform the way they respond to you. You'll develop instant rapport, instant trust, connection at a whole new level, and they literally will be hungry to want to listen to you, to want to follow your lead and to be around you and to take action appropriately as you suggested that they do. Which means buy this, sign up for that, click here, subscribe to this, like that, whatever action you're doing, they will be infinitely more receptive to want to do that with you because you've used the right language set, the right style to connect with them. Cool? All right, give it a shot. I'd love to hear how it goes for you. Drop in comments, respond back, give me your insights on it. Can't wait to hear how this transforms your ads, your landing pages, your speeches, your webinars, your presentations, your book writing, whatever it is. When you focus on this particular thing, it changes everything. It's core to the communication and the ability to connect with other people, persuade them, and have influence in their life. Talk to you later. Bye now.